Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. This is Let Me Bore You to Sleep. Yes. You know what I was thinking? Oh yeah, only listen when you can safely close your eyes. Very important. Very. Do you like the t-shirt? You know what I thought? What can I do to make my face look even more pink? I know. I'll wear a white t-shirt. Yeah. It's like a tomato resting on a lump of snow. It's honestly, I just imagine there's going to be a lot of people. I kind of get lots of views for this video, and I'll think, why is that? But what it will be is people that listen to the podcast are thinking to themselves, I've got to see that. That's got to be funny. Which is a little bit rude, really. It's a little bit rude, making fun of my appearance. I had a shave, had a little trim. Not everywhere, but on my face. Feeling... Hasn't really changed my life, to be honest. Hasn't really... Feels the same as what it did before. The weird thing is, I can hardly see myself in the camera. I'm not even that far away. I can see I'm in the camera. I can see I'm in the screen. But I can't actually see... all I can see is just big... It is literally like a tomato. I like the colour of the t-shirt though, actually. Look at my boobies. I'm hoping that by the summer, well, hopefully by spring, I'm talking maybe May time. So May, it's kind of summer, isn't it? Spring, edging into summer. So I like that word, edging, for some reason. Edging, creeping, edging. So May, my life's ambition, it's not, is it? But anyway, I'd like to be able to walk around. I don't know why I got my hands crossed. I'd like to walk around with a t-shirt on. Not just a t-shirt, because I don't want to get arrested. But a t-shirt, maybe some shorts. I mean, my legs are not too bad. That's the one thing about my body, is no matter how, shall we use the word weight rather than fat, although it is fat I'm talking about. No matter how much weight I wobble around with, my legs always seem to stay fairly slim. And I think, again, it's just heredited from my daddy. I've got my dad's legs, my mum's tits, so it's all right. It's all worked out okay. So yeah, it's weird because my legs are quite slim. I can't show you because if I actually stood up, then you'll see that I was lying, and that ruins the whole illusion. The illusion. Anyway, look. Ooh, muscles. I got one muscle just there. Huh? So I've been working on my stomach in a different way, not in the way that I've done for 20 years. I've been working on making it bigger. I'm now working on trying to make it a bit smaller, a bit slimmer, a little bit. And I've been doing leg raises in bed. I struggle with sit-ups because of my lower back. That's my excuse. It's not a very good excuse, but in a way you could think, well, maybe it is, because that movement is kind of the opposite movement of what helps my back. going backwards is a stretch that's good. But moving forward, it seems to put, I don't know. So I do leg raises instead, as opposed to sit-ups. Now I realise that sit-ups might be better and reach a different part of my abdominals. But I started doing leg raises when I was doing karate, so when I was 13, 14, whatever time it was. And we used to do leg raises, and the Paul, who was the boss, he was the instructor, the sensei, the master, the king, sir, whatever you want to call him. He used to run around and jump on our stomachs. And this was like a 6'6", big, strong man, and probably he's in his 70s now, so he must have been in his 20s, 30s. If I'm in my 40s, no, I'm not in my 50s, 60s, so he must be 20 years older than me. Unless he's not. Maybe he's not. The thing is, when you're little, when you're, I don't know, 13, 14, everyone seems old, apart from those that don't. And those younger people don't seem as old. And it makes me think of Nurse Nichols. I fancied Nurse Nichols. I had the hots, proper had the hots for her. And I think I was 12 at the time. I had my appendix out. And she didn't do it. She just was not just a nurse. She was a nurse there. I got a lot of time for nurses. I've dated a lot of nurses. I actually have. I've dated. How many nurses have I dated? What constitutes a date? So what was it? My first ever girlfriend. Okay, no, Michelle was my first ever girlfriend, but I'm talking like outside of school. But it wasn't a lovey-dovey relationship, walking down the street, hand in hand with dates. Not eating dates, but going on dates. It wasn't that. So although I did have a girlfriend when I left school, when I was 16, I don't remember her name, but we did go on a date. So she was my girlfriend. But I was 16, and it didn't really go anywhere. So I suppose my first long term, although it lasted for a year, probably, pretty much, I say, maybe less. Yeah. No, not a year. It didn't last a year. What am I talking about? It lasted probably about 3 months, 4 months maybe. Maybe 5 months, 4 months. We went out on dates and, boyfriend, girlfriend, holding hands, going out, lovey-dovey stuff. She was a student nurse. She actually stood me up. And you might think, well, if she stood you up, how could she be your girlfriend? Imagination, my friend. I imagined that she was. No, she stood me up. She was a temp in the bakery where I worked. And I worked doing, just serving people food to start with. Then I actually worked inside the bakery as well. But that was later on, when I got made redundant from the kitchen job. Now that's a story. Okay. We get told, so basically what my job was in the canteen. So we prepared all the food in the kitchen. So they'd have breakfast, but there'd also be a main meal. So there'd be breakfast time, then there'd be meal time, or lunch time. Then in the evening, I think they had sandwiches and stuff they could choose. But that's the 2 times that we were open. Maybe they had someone come in the evening. I don't know. So I'd get in there probably 8. I'd start working about 8 o'clock, maybe 7:30, 8. And then we'd have the I'd finish at about 5, maybe 4, half 4. So I'd do like 8 hours, Monday to Friday, every other Saturday morning till about 1 or something. And we'd get the sausages ready, the food, sausages, bacon, beans, chips, I suppose. Do we have chips? I can't remember. But like a cooked breakfast, a proper cooked breakfast, but people could choose what they wanted. And we had a spittle or fryer thing for eggs. So I enjoyed making the eggs on there, but there'd be so much wastage. And because you have to move really quick, so serve, because it was kind of, we were serving and cooking at the same time with the eggs, that is. The rest of the stuff was already prepared, but then we'd still have to go back into the kitchen and get stuff. So it was quite a demanding crowd, but they were hungry, which I found out when I actually worked in the bakery, why they were so grumpy and restless and not very patient. Because I got to do that job, and it's a very, very, very hard, hunger-inducing job. It's like the hardest job I ever had, physically, when I worked in the bakery. And the heat was tremendous. Not in a good way, not like tremendous. I don't mean, it was really good. It was not the most pleasant heat ever. It's weird that I actually didn't just disappear, because I was really slim then, and I was in that heat. See, now if I was in that heat after probably a month, I'm pretty sure I'd lose a good stone, if not more. There'd be probably very little fat on my body if I was in that heat all day, actually physically working in front of an oven. I mean, the actual, because all the ovens were open, the end of the oven, but a big long oven, so they go through, unbaked, like the rolls, bread rolls and stuff, and then when it got to the other side, they were all cooked, So the ovens were open all the time. Vinny's eating his dinner, just in case you wonder what the clitter-clatter was. So it's not just that, but all the electrical equipment, all the ovens, so many big, massive ovens. So wherever you were, it was hot. When you were in front of the actual oven, collecting the stuff, getting it off the trays, and putting it into the baskets. Wow. And the weird thing about it? They never stopped production. Unless they really had to. So if you didn't get the tray and you didn't move fast enough, it just keep coming and keep coming. It'd start falling on the floor, and supervisor would be laughing. So yeah, it was a difficult job. Anyway, that's not really part of the story. Although this next part, So I'm working in this job, and I meet this lady. She's a temp. She's from Trinidad, and something about her. She's just doing the washing up, and that was a weird noise. She was doing, like, I suppose, kind of like kitchen portering, and she was just there for the day. That was it. We had, because we had someone at work there, and they kept having time off. So she came in, was just doing that. And we'd have different people every day. It's just, whoever. And ironically, I ended up doing exactly that same kind of job myself as a temp over the years. Well, me and her, we hit it off, I thought. Hit it off. And there was she was relaxing to me, because back then I was not a relaxing person. It's hard to me explain based on kind of how I am now. I'm quite laid back and loose, baby. But back then, I wasn't so much. I was quite reserved at times. I could be quite calm, but I could also be really not calm. And I wasn't. There's an old saying like I wasn't. Um, I wasn't backward and coming forward. Is one of those sayings. I would just blurt stuff out and talk about whatever, and an oversharer possibly. That might be the right word, but I don't know. I was just me, just whatever version of me I was at the age of 20. That was me. You only had your first girlfriend when you were 20? Yeah, I did. No, I had some other like girlfriends kind of before that, but this was the first. I'd say the first romantic girlfriend that I actually would go on dates with. We went on lots of dates, and we was in London, loads of things to do, and those were the days when it was livable. You know, being in London, the rent wasn't huge. I was paying £40 a week for this. It was a horrible little room, but it was still just £40 a week, which meant I had the rest of I had the other £60 a week that I could spend on myself. You know, I wasn't earning a lot of money. I don't know. To be fair, when I was in the bakery, in the canteen, I was probably earning about 130 probably a week, maybe 140, 145, I don't know. So it wasn't terrible considering it was all right. So we went out. Anyway, that first day, she was doing the washing up, and I've always liked watching people do the washing up for some reason. And I distract. They do the old thing, distract her. Look at that. I pull the plug out quickly, and she'd be like, "Oh, where's all the water gone? Oh, was that you English person?" That's how she spoke. And I think that's what attracted to me. I just like, when I first met her, I said, "Hi, I'm Jason." She said, "Oh, I don't care what your name is." I thought, this might be the one. So I said, "Would you like to go out on a date?" She said, "No, I don't want to go on a date with you. It's bad enough I've had to spend 7 hours with you." No, she didn't. She said, "Yeah." I won't do the accent. She was from Trinidad, but it was like very, "Oh, geez, son," very slow. And I needed that. I needed to be around someone that operated really slowly compared to my kind of a little bit too frenetic at the time. A little bit too... I was a bit wired back then. And she was relaxing. And she had a very, very calm mannerisms and very quite peaceful person. And I don't know how to explain it, but I liked it anyway. I liked that energy. I liked her, but that energy of calmness, and I felt something when I was near her. I felt it. I felt something, and I liked what I felt. So, but I wasn't. What I mean when I mean the emotional feeling, the feeling inside. I liked how she felt inside. I'm trying to word this in a way that doesn't sound rude. It just felt nice. It was a nice sensation to be near her. So I asked her out on a date, and she said, "Yeah, okay." And I think this was on a Friday at work, and we arranged to meet at Liverpool Street Station at the bottom of the steps at this time, there was only one, that was the only place there was. I think they've got other steps in there now. This is, this was, I don't know, February or March, maybe March time, 1991. And I turn up. She wasn't anywhere to be seen. And I hang around for a while, nothing. So, yeah, it was stood up. I'm not sure if it's the first time I've been stood up. Probably not. Although I think I once accidentally stood someone else up. Because I was working with someone in a chip shop. And really liked her for ages and ages and ages. And eventually she agreed to come out to the cinema with me. And I'd asked her out probably too many times. But, bearing in mind I was 15 when I joined the work there. So I was about 16 at the time when she agreed to come out with me. And so I'm waiting in line. So I said, I'll meet you because opposite, just across the road from the chip shop. I'll meet you and I'll just get us a place in the line. And as she was coming, I thought it'd be funny to hide. But I hid for too long, I think, because when I came out from the alleyway, she was gone and so was the queue. And the film was like halfway through. So I just, they were showing the next, that would have worked if I knew the right word. Showing the next showing doesn't really work though, does it? No. I never did find out what happened there. I think she was annoyed with me. So love never blossomed there. I still hold hope though. Just adding it up in my head. It's only 38 years ago. Still a chance. I actually know someone that held a torch for someone for 30 years. Someone he dated when he was like a young man, and still thought, because I think, or maybe I got a chance to still meet up with her, and it's like 30 years. It's a long time. It's a long time. In the end, I had to say, just put the torch down, man. Put it down. Don't need it anymore. He said, but how am I going to see? I said, well, okay, just use it at night. Just hold it at night. But during the daytime, you don't need to hold it. So, yeah, he got rid of it. We didn't get rid of it. I don't know what he did because I didn't see him again. I say I knew him. I mean, he was at the bus stop. We were waiting for a bus, so I don't know what his name was. So, she didn't turn up at, not the one at the chip shop theatre, cinema. This is the lady from the bakery where she was a temp. So I didn't really know much about her at the time, and she was about 24 and I was 20. Yeah, I was 20 and she was 24, so she's a little bit older, and it was an experiment, I think, from both sides. And I was a little bit embarrassed. So because she hadn't turned up, I was thinking, right, I changed my underpants for nothing. That was my first thought. And then I remembered, oh, wait a minute, no, I didn't. And then I thought, oh, maybe it's lucky she didn't turn up. And then I remembered I turned them inside out. But that didn't make me feel any better. So I don't know what I did. If it was a Saturday evening, which it was, I more than likely went up to the comedy club and just like spent a few hours there. But it depends, because I might have gone home. Depends on how I felt. I don't remember. I don't recall. Well, you know what remember means. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to use different words to show how wordy I can be. And so she didn't turn up. I wasn't sure what to do. I mean, partly, there's part of me thought, well, maybe I'll see her again. Maybe she'll come back and do another shift. She'll be a temp again at my place. But then I also thought, I hope she doesn't. I don't want to see her again. Because as she stood me up, I really don't want to see her again. If something's happened and it's not her fault, but if she just didn't want to see me and she stood me up, I definitely don't want to see her at work. Well, I think it was the Tuesday or the Wednesday. Who turns up? It might have been the Monday, but who rolls up? So she's there for another day. And we look at each other. And the first thing she does is apologise to me. Now, at this point, we didn't have each other's telephone numbers or anything. So there was no contact details. It was just meet you there and I guess see how it goes, It wasn't, I think in the 90s, the early 90s, well, for me anyway, didn't swap details. I didn't have my own telephone number. I didn't have an email address. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a Facebook. All that stuff wasn't around. And there was a landline telephone in the house, but I didn't have access to it. If someone rung, my landlady would call up to me. It was really just for emergencies, like my dad and things like that. I didn't generally give it to girlfriends. But what I would normally do is take their telephone number and then I'd call them. In the early 90s, I go to a phone box and stuff. But I didn't have a telephone number. So there was a real problem back then with, if you go out, like now, you got your phone. I'm guessing most people have got mobile phones. You can pretty much be anywhere. So if you can go to a town that you don't even know, and you've not really got to worry about getting lost, apart from the fact that you've got Google Maps and all that stuff. But you can just phone the person if you're with someone and you split up for whatever reason to go to different places. Let's say I'm with my girlfriend and she goes because she wants to get my Christmas present, and I go to get her Christmas present, and she phones me and I'm in McDonald's, because that's what I really did with that time. I could pretend, I'm in Lush. I'm just do you like those soap bomb things, don't you? The toilet bombs? He said, no, they're bath bombs. Okay, bath bombs. So not toilet bombs. They're the same thing, aren't they? No, apparently they're not. Who knew? And she, it's that you can kind of keep in contact. Thinking back to that time, I remember the first. Anyway, I'm ahead of myself on this story. So I have a drink of water, I think. See, this is a better lid. The other one I had to go like click open. This, look, it's Buxton. It's class. You get what you pay for in life. So she apologises to me. Straight away, the first thing she does is apologise. Well, she takes her coat off first because it's winter. Well, it's winter heading to spring. So she apologises, says, sorry about, I just want to do the accent because it's quite a cool accent. Jason, I'm sorry about Saturday. It sounds nothing like her, but it was very slow, very calm. It's maybe hard to explain really, but she said, oh, she wasn't able to get there because of, I didn't listen. I probably did listen, but I probably didn't. I wasn't really interested in excuses. It's like, I'm thinking, okay, why have you not bought me a box of chocolates to apologise? Words aren't always enough. And then after telling me why she didn't make the date, she said, oh, we'll go out again this week though, if you like, and I'll give you my number. And I was like, yeah, sure, okay. I didn't think anything more of it, which is a lie, because that's all I thought about. And there was a real connection between us. I don't know if she felt it, but I felt a real connection. Chemistry, that's the word I'm trying to think of, chemistry. And the next time we decided, I was going to meet her. She lived in Hackney. That's where she was living. Or that's where she was temporarily staying with her auntie or cousin or something. And it turned out she was a student. She was going to be a student nurse. She was just waiting to go to college or go to start her student nursery course. And so she'd come here for that reason. She'd come to London from Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know, wherever, but she came here for that reason, and she was just getting a little bit of money together, doing some agency work just to pay her way while she was waiting to move away. So I was a little bit annoyed because she actually moved away from London. If she'd have stayed in London, things might have worked out a bit better. Not for her, because I think it worked out quite well, because she ended up getting married and having kids and stuff. But yeah, we started dating. And the very first time, I think it was the next Saturday, she said, it might not have been, maybe, I don't know if it was like, I can't do this Saturday because, and I was like attitudinal. I was like, yeah, right, if you don't want to do anything, it's just, don't lead me on. She said, no, I've got and I don't know what the reason was, but we did go out in the end. And I got a bus up to Hackney Wick, I think it was, which isn't a long way from Stratford in East London. A very busy market, as I do recall. And I had her address and a telephone number. Could I find it? No. Not a piece of paper with her address and telephone number on that was in my pocket. But I didn't know where I was going. There was no Google Maps. There was no way of knowing other than asking people, which is what I probably did do. And I kept phoning her every time I got to a phone box. Not on the bus. I would like put my hand out quickly. I was off the bus at this point. And or did I get a train? There was a train station at Hackney Wick. Maybe I got Maryland Station to I don't know. I remember, yeah, the area was different from where I was living. And after a lot of faffing, we eventually met up, and we met each other in the market, and we went out and spent the day or the afternoon together, and yeah, it was cool. So we dated each other for a while. Trying to think what other. I'll go on to the other. So that was, and then she became a nurse. She went trained as a student nurse. So I was with her when she was doing that, but it was quite difficult to maintain a long distance relationship because she was quite a long way away, probably a good 3 hours on a train from London, if not further. So yeah, it didn't last, unfortunately. Once she'd gone, probably only lasted for about a month and a half, 2 months maybe. I was visiting, quite fairly regular, but then it just, yeah, it didn't work out. Then the next nurse I dated, I think the next one was in 1996, 1994, 93. I think the next one is 96. She was a student nurse, and she was working at a place where I was a security. And then the next one was 97. Then the next one was 1998. She lived in Ealing, I think. So she was a student nurse. Yeah, she was a student nurse. Then the next one, I think that was all the student nurses. Then the next one was actually a nurse, a working nurse. And that was in that was probably about 2000, maybe even the beginning of 2001. So I dated her. We actually had one proper, I don't know what I'm shouting. We actually had a proper date, me and her. We went out for a while. I messed that one up. Hey, well. I'm trying to think there's any others. That's a few, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 2004. As well, there was another. She was a psychiatric nurse. Don't worry, it wasn't a professional relationship. She wasn't my psychiatric nurse, and nothing like that. That just happened to be her job. So what was that? Six nurses. I think that's it. So I think I've only dated 6 nurses in my life that I remember. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, going back to this, I was made redundant, okay, from the bakery. In the actual kitchen was how I ended up working in the bakery itself. And it was weird because I only got that job due to my landlady being best friends with the HR manager of the bakery. And really, I'd moved to London with the expectation of getting a job back where I'd already worked before in the previous year. So I lived in London for a while, moved out and came back. I thought I was going to go back there. It didn't work out like that, and there was no there. Well, the place is still there, but there was no work for me. So I'm in Stratford. I've got this new room, well, a room that I'd started living in, and I probably had about 3 weeks, 4 weeks left of rent, and then I was going to be pretty much had no money. And I said to my landlady, I don't know what I'm going to do because the job I thought I had isn't here. And she sorted me out. She basically sorted me out to get a job interview in this kitchen in the bakery. They needed someone. So I turned up for the interview. I just did the normal thing. When do I start? And he laughed. And then I think he said, I'll call you up. I'll call you and let you know. And then he phoned me up later in the afternoon and said, or HR did, and said, yeah, if you can start Monday. Later on, I found out that the job was mine before I even got there. And he had no choice but to give it to me. Oh, well. Yeah, he once said to me, all you think about is comedy. All you talk about is comedy. What about this job? I was like, I'm cooking sausages. Really didn't hear that. Sausages. So, like, I'm cooking sausages, warming up beans, serving breakfast to people that really don't like me. Grumpy. There's a reason why they're grumpy. I didn't realise, but this is not a career move for me. That's how I was thinking. It was a job for now. Have to work. So that's what I did. I worked. It was a daytime job, perfect for me. So I could go out in the evenings, and that's what I was doing. I was doing gigs. That first year, I did, I think, over 100 gigs in that very first year of living in London. Every night I was in a comedy club, pretty much. And that's why I was in London. That's why I moved to London, to do that. And he seemed to think I was spending too much time focusing on that stuff. That's what I'm here for. Anyway, the day came. I didn't see this. I was a little bit short-sighted on this one. And my landlady's friend didn't tell me. There was no warning. Unless, of course, she did tell me. And we were all kind of bundled together. I don't know if we were taken, I don't know if the HR told us all or whatever, but we were just told, you've been made redundant. All of you. But you can apply for your job. How does that work? You're making us redundant, but we can apply for our job. How can there be a job if we've been made redundant? And they said, that's a good question. Because even then, people used to answer questions like that. Well, that's a good question. Why is it no longer able to just answer a question? You have to say, well, that's a great question. That's a wonderful question. That's an amazing question. That's a good question. And then answer. I'm waiting now. I'm not waiting for you to answer. I'm waiting to watch a news interview or something where the person doesn't say, that's a good question, when asked a question. Do they realise they're doing it? It's a bit like the so before answering. That used to be a thing. It's not so much a thing now, but it's very popular for a while. Other phases, such as not fit for purpose, that was very popular a few years back. Yeah, there's a few, isn't there? A few phrases that the politicians start using, and then everyone's using them on telly, whether it's the interviewers or the interviewees, or just, it gets a little bit. I don't know. It's a bit false, if you ask me. It's a little bit by numbers, paint by numbers kind of. What's the other words? A word that's used a lot. Oh, something that was always, oh man, that used to bug me, this did. Everything happens for a reason. It's like, it was overused. It's just so, it's something that's overused. There's nothing wrong with the term itself. I ain't got an issue. People say what they want. But overused. Everyone was saying it. I believe, like they're the only one, that, like they just thought it up themselves. Personally, I believe everything happens for a reason. Wow, did you think that up yourself? Blimey, you must be a genius. How did you come up with that? Ooh, mind blowing. That reminds me of JFK. The information is coming up about that soon, isn't it? In America, they're releasing those files so we can see what actually really happened. I don't know why that came to my mind. So I was told that we were being made redundant. Da, da, da. So I was a little bit disheartened, a little bit, like it's not like I had any savings. Had I had savings, I wouldn't have been too bothered. But I had now. And I didn't really know what I was going to do. And it wasn't a well-paid enough job to be like super unhappy about it. But again, it wasn't a well-paid enough job to know that, I've got a month's money coming and that'll last me for a while. No, it'll last a month. Which means it wasn't, great money. I was offered to go and work in a bakery. And I said, no, thank you. No. Because I got on really well with the managers of the different bakery sections. I think they liked my cockiness, because I was a little bit verbally leery at times, and I didn't take crap from anyone, and I didn't care who they were, whether they were the manager of the bakery, the HR department, or whether they were just delivering milk to the bakery. I didn't care. I just talked to everyone the same. And the managers seemed to like that, some of them. So when I was being made redundant, they came up to me and said, you can have a job. Do you want to work in a bakery? And I said, no, I don't want to do a crappy job like that. Well, look at me. I'm not here to get dirty. I don't mind smelling of sausages. I don't miss, that's fine. But I'm not doing physical work. I'm just the minimal, for me, I might not have said that. That for me, because that would have been ungrateful, wouldn't it? I probably didn't say that. But I might have done, knowing how I was. Yeah, I might have actually been rude. But in a nice way. For me, how many more times do you reckon I can say for me before it gets really annoying? For me, I wanted to keep my shift during the day, because I knew that if I went into the bakery, I'd be working all shifts, all hours, night and day. And that did not suit me at all. And they had like split shifts, so it was never the same shift twice. Like you do a week of this and a week of that, a week of, I don't know if it was 12-hour shifts. I think it was 8-hour shifts, but it was like 6 till 2, 2 till 10, 10 till 6 in the morning. I think that was the 3 ones rather. The 3 ones. And I didn't want to. So I was curious, what's this about interviewing for our own jobs? Because I was like, what are they going to do? To start with, they didn't know. Said, well, they might just put like a machine in the canteen where people can just buy sandwiches and they put fresh sandwiches in there every day. But I don't think the staff were particularly happy about that because they wanted cooked food. Very understandable. So they decided to get an agency in. Apparently, it wasn't financially viable for us to be working there, which I don't quite understand. It would work out cheaper for the bakery to let an agency come in and run it. I don't get that. I don't know. I think my wages might have gone down a little bit, but I applied for my job. But prior to applying for my job, someone came in and was just working for the day, and I think this was during the I thought he was a temp, and he was asking me about how things were. Can you just? My boss said, can you just show him how to do stuff and that? So I did. I thought he was gonna just be a temp because there was one temp, because we were short staffed. One person just left straight away, so they got a temp in just to keep us going for next month. And I thought what this person was going to be doing. So I'm telling him about all the places to skive, how you can avoid getting caught, just shortcuts, stuff that, not bad things, but just like ways of doing less work. It turned out he was the new manager, of the agency that was going to be my boss. He was my new boss, and I didn't know. I thought he was just a temp coming in to help out for a month. So I'm there with him he didn't stay the month. He was only there for, I think, 3 days. And he was the person that interviewed me. And I'll be honest, I didn't expect to get the job because a lot of it was bravado. A lot of it was just showing off, and just a lot of it was being honest as well. But yeah, I got the job. And it was weird because I was doing the same job as before, less money than before. And the working environment was not very nice. And my boss, who I had before, I liked him. Even though he did sell me a video player that didn't work. Didn't like that about him. He loved to gamble. He would stand and watch the fruit machine for hours. And he always knew the right time when someone had stopped playing. Someone had come off the fruit machine and people had been on there like for hours on and off, and he'd go over and he'd put 50 pence in or a pound in or whatever. He'd just win nearly every time. Like the 20, 30, 40 pound or whatever. And he'd actually walk over with a bucket so he could collect the money. I'm exaggerating there, but I think it might be true. And I said to him, how do you know? He said, just lucky guess. Now, I think he's the one that used to actually empty the machine. So I don't know whether or not he had some kind of little thing that went in there that I don't know, probably not. But maybe he knew a bit more about fruit machines than he let on. Although there were times when he was on the fruit machine and he didn't win anything. Ultimately gamblers don't win in the end, do they? So yeah, but I got on quite well with him. And the people I worked with, there was a person I worked with that I got on really well with, and he left. and the lady that I got on, she was quite a lot older than me, but I liked her as well. She left, so I just like, I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to work there anymore. That is. So I went up to the manager of the bakery, and I said, I changed my mind. I said, do you still want? I still come work here. He said, yeah. When do you want to start? I had to give a week's notice in the bakery, and that was it. So I I don't think showing the new manager around the job and showing them all the places to skive and shortcuts and ways to do things that are not illegal, but not necessarily correct. Like skiving, going outside for a cigarette break when we're supposed to be serving people food. Just little things like that. And yeah, perhaps that wasn't a good start. Wasn't the best start to my career with that agency. So yeah, I didn't. Yeah. But she was the first, I would say, proper relationship that I had when I was in London. I didn't really, not really, have another one until 96. I mean, did I have any relate? No, not in London. I had a girlfriend that didn't live in London in the end of 93 throughout 94. And then kind of had a girlfriend in Ireland for a while, but that didn't really go anywhere. Plus, moving away didn't help probably. 92. I don't think I had any action. Action. I didn't have any dating action, any romance during 1992. And the whole of 93. So, like 2 years until the end of 93 when I kind of did have a girlfriend. And then during 94, yeah. And then after 94, 95, I had two girlfriends in 95. So, really, my next proper girlfriend was the end of 93, and we were together for a while. But I had to go home from London, and it was kind of romantic because of the distance. I think helped. And she did say something. She said, "You know what? My happiest." I did ask her, "What was your happiest time together?" Because I spoke to her later. We stayed friends, and I said, "What was your happiest time? During our relationship?" And she said, "When you were in London." I said, "But you weren't with me." She said, "Yeah, I know." Okay, fair enough. So I had someone I really liked at the end of 95. But that didn't go anywhere, unfortunately. But I really liked that person. 96, no. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I actually had like a. I'm about to explain to you what I mean by girlfriend. Boyfriend, girlfriend, relationship, dating, that stuff. That's what I mean. And I haven't done that. I haven't done that for can't even remember the last time, like a regular dating, actually going out on a date. Oh yeah, I do. 2012, like end of 2011, beginning of 2012. That's the last time I actually was going on dates with someone. We actually went out on a date into a restaurant, eating and stuff like that. So that's the last time. So that's 13 years ago. That didn't last a long time. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Vinny's been really quiet. Oh no, he's not now. He's been good, hasn't he? There's been people shouting in the garden. There's someone with a window open in the kitchen being noisy. There's someone on the other side of the fence being noisy. There's dogs barking. He hasn't made a sound. He's just been chewing on his bone, happily relaxed. He's had his dinner. He's had some water. He had a TREAT earlier. He's just chilled. He seems quite a good mood today. Although he was like making a fuss earlier, and we were having a little nap, and I didn't grab him, but I kind of held him, cuddled him. He didn't like that. He doesn't mind me putting my hand on him when he's kind of resting. If he's next to me on a chair, he'll actually cuddle up to my leg. Sometimes he put his chin on my leg and look at me, or just go to sleep. In bed, we sometimes end up pretty much laying on each other when we're asleep. But when he's awake, if I put my hands on him, like, you just get off me. You're not my real dad. And he just runs to the bottom of the bed. He's so little he can actually run to the bottom of the bed. The bed's not that big. He's down there. He's listening. He's listening to what else is he? What other lies is he gonna say? Oh, I just found out today. Well, not just today, but I found out that there's quite a bit of boxing coming up this week. Friday morning at 1 a.m. So tomorrow morning will be Thursday, Friday. So 2 days. Clarissa Shields is defending her heavyweight title, unifying the heavyweight titles, the women's heavyweight titles. So really good. She is like, I'd argue pound for pound, the best. But she doesn't get in America, I think she's a lot bigger name than she is in this country, and I can't figure out why. There's a lot, I don't get it, really. She's unbeaten, multiple weights. Not many other big names are now unbeaten. Like Chantel Cameron. Is it Chantel Cameron? Katie Taylor, Serrano. They've all been beaten. They're all great fighters and pound for pounds, but they've all, been beaten. Clarissa Shields, unbeaten. I never couldn't figure out why is she not fighting. What's her name? Katie Taylor. If Katie Taylor's the top, I mean, some would argue she's the top female boxer in the world. Some would say Serrano is the top. Some would argue, I guess, that, someone else's. I'm trying to think of another name now. I mean, I don't. For me, it's not about going for who you like. It's about going for who's the most accomplished. But how do you work that one out? Is it who's had the most titles? Because then Serrano would be the one. Is it who's had the most different weight divisions? Is it who's held the most, who's unified the most? Who's had the most fights? Who's unbeaten? Who's had the most fights unbeaten? Who's had the most knockouts? So it depends how you look at it. But Clarissa Shields is, she's a pound for pound. There's some really good female fighters now. What's her name? There's another one I was going to quickly check. She's Welsh. Female boxer. I wish you get closer to the table. This is hard work. Stretching boxer. Lauren Price. Lauren Price. Wow. It's weird. I mean, I don't mean this in a sexist way. Now you wonder what I'm going to say. No, I'm not going to say anything dodgy. I think until now, I've always viewed the female fighters as female. Might seem a bit of a silly thing to say, but there was in a sense of none of them, in my mind, could compete with the top males. Not one-on-one, but I mean as in skill and excitement and everything like that. This was a few years ago. This is my thinking, because I hadn't seen it. All I knew that women were more the female boxers were tougher than the male boxers. I've never seen a female boxer get in the ring and run away, ever. Don't think I've ever seen it. And it doesn't matter how good they are, how skillful, whatever, they still go in for a fight. Now, if you watch boxing regularly, you'll know that it's not the case with male boxers. A lot of boxers will go in there with no intention of even winning. They're going in there for the payday. They're just that's their job. They're not in there. They're just like a jobbing boxer. They go in, maybe have 5 fights a year, earn a living out of it. And they might put a little bit of effort in. And in some cases, they could probably win the fight, because they're fighting someone that's maybe only had 1 or 2 fights. And because that person might have had 100 fights, 120 fights, won 8 or 17 out of that 120. Now, someone that's had 120 fights knows something. Especially if you look at their resume and they may never have been knocked out, which means they are tough. And they've also got skill, because what the skill they use is the skill of allowing themselves to be beaten, but without getting hurt, because they know if they do get knocked out, they're not allowed to fight for 3 months. Something like that is a legal thing. So in order for them to fight next week or in 2 weeks' time or whatever, or be on call to get that money, they have to go through the distance maybe, but they have to go the distance unless they win. And it'd normally be maybe 3-6 rounds. Sometimes they go longer, but they have to do it so they don't get hurt. There's a lot of skill in that. And I remember seeing one once, and he accidentally, I think he got annoyed with the boxer, and you could see that he was holding back. He could have won that fight so easily, and he held back because. And I saw one recently. It's the same thing. He didn't even try. He was just like a bit of jabbing, and the other boxer just about outboxed him, outpointed him, just about. And so there's a lot of respect that I have for those kinds of boxers because they know their craft, and in a lot of situations they could win. The ones I don't have. It's not that I don't respect them, but I feel a little bit sorry for them. Is the heavyweights, because the amount of heavyweights that are just almost like just handed like bits of meat to the rising star to just be knocked out. It just doesn't seem very fair. But you don't get that so much in the lighter weights. Anyway, more recently, I've noticed over the last few years, especially with like Katie Taylor. I mean, Katie Taylor's done so much for boxing. I mean, for female boxing, is like wow, so much. But there's a lot of people have, a lot of females have, but she's one of the massive stars in this part of the world, like Ireland and America, no, Ireland and England. But you know what? Lauren Price, it's not about female. She's as good. And you watch her, you don't even know she's a woman because of the way she boxes, because of how tough she is and how hard she hits and the skill. I mean, she's Olympic gold medalist, I think. She's got 3 world titles since the 11th of May. I think she was the Olympic. Was she Olympic? First female. But I'm pretty sure she won the Olympics, the gold in Olympics, and she's from Wales. She's born 1994, 2004, 2024. So she's 31. Again, it's like, it's a shame she couldn't have got professional earlier, but I don't know how many times she went in the Olympics. But she's so good. So good. Like, if you haven't seen Lauren Price, it's on a different level. I would say it's on a different level from 90%, 95% of the boxers I've seen, the female boxers. And I'd say she's on another level from about 80% of the male boxers. She's a standout. She stands out. That's what standout means, isn't it? She's a standout. So good. And she's broken that barrier between male and female boxers. It, for me, is like it's not an issue anymore. It's never an issue for me, but although I had a friend, he loved boxing, but he didn't like female boxing. They have boobies. They're not supposed to fight. It's like, yeah, but they don't hit each other in the chest. But they can. I researched it, and yeah, they can. They don't because it's like a known, like, please don't. You don't, and I won't. But there's no. It's like in this country, outside of London, park on the pavement. You shouldn't do it, but it's not against the law. How does that work? Oh no, he's talking about parking on the pavement again. When will he give it up? Never. Never. So, Lauren Price, so good. Anyway, Clarissa Shields, I just spat everywhere there. Clarissa Shields is fighting on Friday morning. There is boxing on Saturday evening. I'm not even sure where it is. I think it might be in Ireland. and then Sunday morning in the UK. This is Saturday evening in America. David Benavidez is fighting. Huge fight. It's not for a world title, but I want to read. Oh man, I want to read this off to you, but I can't. Anyway, he's fighting whoever it is he's fighting. It's a Colombian fighter. Oh, I need to move. Okay, David. Okay, it'd be easier if I just put in boxing schedule. Boxing schedule 2025. Right, here we go. So I can give you February the 1st. Here we go. Oh, February the 1st, Sky Sports, Adam Azim and Sergio Lipinets. We're watching that. Oh, yes. Adam Azim is really good, so we're watching that. So that's Saturday evening, about 7:30, I guess. At 1 o'clock, there's the Las Vegas show, and it's David Benavidez against David Morrell for the WBA regular and WBC interim light heavyweight belts, and Brandon Figueroa and Stephen Fulton too for the WBC featherweight world title. There's also, if I remember rightly, what? I wish they'd just give us a bit more. There was other people on that undercard that I wanted to watch. That one's on Amazon. So the thing is, if you watch it on Sky, providing you get onto the viewing while it's streaming, you can start from the start, or you can rewind it, providing it's not near the end. If you miss it, that's it. You can watch. They might put clips on there, on Sky, but generally it's gone. You can maybe watch bits on YouTube and stuff. With the DAZN app, you can watch it live. You can go on and watch it from the start, or watch it live, depending if it's already started. Or you can watch it back later on, and you can even go to individual fights and choose a fight you want to watch. So it's much more organised on DAZN. On all right. On Amazon Prime, it's the same thing as with it's a little bit different from DAZN, because DAZN has so many fights, I think stuff can get lost. But you can purchase, I think this is a purchase fight. I don't know how much, but it's saved. So it's, if when you buy anything with Amazon, it stays in your account and you've got it forever. Well, for however long Amazon is around. So I've got a couple of movies. It's a Wonderful Life, The Wanderers, a few fights that I purchased, the Tank Davis, maybe 2 fights. So it's saved, so I can watch it back if I want to. And then you've got Netflix. Again, they save stuff. I mean, they've only, as far as I know, they've only done one boxing event on Netflix, and that was the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson one a few months ago. But this will be interesting. Yeah. Interesting. So got another, and then, so this is the first. Next week, The 8th, no, can't watch that. It's on TNT Sports. It's ridiculous. I don't know why. See, this is what annoys me about some of these boxings. They like just. I wish they could all just get together, which is what they have been doing with Saudi Arabia, is getting together and showing it multi-platform, the same bill, the same event. TNT Sports is like £30 a month, or was it more? Something like that. £30 a month. No, I'm not going to pay £30 a month for the occasional boxing match. No, they can't do that. So I'm going to miss that Derek Chisora unless they show it on a different channel as well. But the good thing is Frank Warren's Queensbury, who does the boxing for TNT. He's moving, I think, in March to DAZN to be with Eddie Hearn and Golden Boy, which is Oscar De La Hoya, and a couple of others. So he'll be on there, which means, wow, so cool. I personally think they should all just be on each other's ones. Because ultimately, if you're a Sky user, if you're in the UK, or you might have Sky in your country, and you want to watch boxing, it doesn't really matter where you watch it, does it? But you're going to be more interested in watching it on your own platform, the one that you're used to using. If you're on DAZN and not on Sky, you want to watch it on DAZN. I guess if you're on TNT Sports, you want to watch it on TNT Sports. So I don't know why I just don't make them all available. Have a share it. So for those, so if it's on, for example, TNT Sports, allow DAZN, allow Sky Sports to show it, and just charge them per viewer, charge them per stream, just so they make a little bit of money, but it keeps the people with them. I don't know. It makes sense to me kind of in my head. Although with DAZN, Frank Warren, it is, the only real separate one now will be Sky Sports, will be separate from DAZN. Top Rank, maybe. So there's a couple in America, but generally here, Ben Shalom is Boxer. They're the ones that provide the Sky Sports. Now for me, I would say, why don't you just Ben Shalom come to DAZN and then just share all the fights with Sky Sports? And people can pay, I don't know, or have DAZN on Sky Sports at a reduced rate. So like half the price. So if you're with Sky, you can have DAZN, the boxing streams, for an extra £5 a month or £10 a month, and you can have all the fights from DAZN, because they do other things. They do other sports as well. Yeah, but then, so the 8th of February is Derek Chisora. I think it's his last fight, or he's got one more after that. And he's retiring. I'm not going to be able to watch it. The week after, February the 15th, Jack Catterall against Arnold Barboza. Jack Catterall is phenomenal. If you haven't seen him, check him out. He is so good. So good. he's like, he gives a boxing masterclass every time. I would say he is in the same league as Dmitry Bivol as far as boxing skill goes. So good. And he fought for the unified world champion, lightweight champion, I think it was, about 3 years ago. And he lost on points. He clearly won that fight. Like, clearly. It was like everyone, I watched it in a room of people that weren't even paying much attention, and even they said, he won. How could he not win it? How can it? It was a travesty, it was. And I don't know, I think it was unified, for the unified titles. Anyway, when they came to have a rematch, all the belts had gone. And I'm not sure, I think he might have lost his titles, or he gave up, I can't remember, I forget. And Jack Catterall did win. He outboxed him and he won. I think he was outboxed. Yeah, I think that was it. But he's so good. And I will always watch him, because that fight, even though he didn't win it, he didn't get the nod, he should have. He should have been a world champion. It doesn't happen that often where it's that obvious that it's just, I don't want to say a con or, a fraud or whatever, but it was, and it's taken nothing away from the champion, because he was a great champion. I followed him for years, but Jack Catterall outboxed him like cleanly. It was so, even if you don't watch boxing regularly, you can just, the shots are so clean that it was, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like it's in slow motion, but really quick, which is a weird kind of concept. But when he punches, you can see that he's punched. When he connects, you can see that he's connected. It's so clean. The shots are so clean. They're so fast, but so clean. And there's very few boxers like that I've seen that are that skillful. And it puts, I'd say is even higher than world class. With his skill, I would put him down as pound for pound. But unfortunately, he doesn't have a world title yet. So once he's got a world title, then I guess he'll start being considered as a pound for pound. But he is so good. So Lauren Price and Jack Catterall, watch out for those two. I mean, they're not new, but if you haven't watched boxing for a while, or you're not really into it, but you're kind of interested in seeing someone really good, just go on YouTube or whatever and just check them out. Lauren Price is vicious. She's, honestly, I don't think she's as exciting as Mike Tyson. I mean, she's not, but she is, it's hard for anyone that doesn't, if anyone that wasn't around during Mike Tyson heyday, during, when he was like 20 and 1986, 87, 88, 89, those years, they won't know, they won't understand, because he was a phenomenon. Like a hurricane, kind of just the most unbeatable boxer. And there is no such thing as an unbeatable boxer, but I believe that he was unbeatable. When I was young, I now know that there's no such thing. I mean, even Beterbiev, who's fighting on the 22nd. So that's, the 1st is this Saturday, the 8th is the following Saturday, the 15th is the following Saturday, then the 22nd is the biggest boxing bill for a long time. time. It's the biggest, I don't know, it's possibly the biggest one they've done so far. Because they've got, well, anyway, Beterbiev, he seems unbeatable, but he's going to get beaten. Dmitry Bivol is going to beat him in the second fight. That's what I think. But then I said that about the first fight, and I'm a fan of both. I just think Dmitry Bivol is so good, like as a boxer, and I love his facial expression. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone that focused. Dmitry Bivol, so they're fighting for all the belts. 1, 2, 3, 4. WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO, light heavyweight world titles. So they're fighting for those. It's the second fight. That's the headline. The undercard, the co-main event, right, on the undercard is a world heavyweight title fight. Now, they've got it wrong. I don't know why they put that there. Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker for the WBO heavyweight title. No, it's not. Daniel Dubois has the IBF heavyweight title. Why does Talk Sport not know that? And their professional website and a radio station, TV thing that like deals with sport, and they don't know that it's the IBF heavyweight title, and I do, and I'm just some young man in his bedroom. Okay, I'm not in my bedroom, but you know what I mean. So you've got Daniel Dubois against Joseph Parker defending his world title, heavyweight world title, on the undercard. The undercard. When has that ever happened? Although I think it might have happened in the past when there was 2 heavyweight world title fights on the same bill. So one had to be before the other, but they were kind of equal main events. But obviously you can't have them both fighting at the same time. And if I'm right, I have a vague memory that I'm pretty sure the lead up to Mike Tyson winning all the belts, they took turns fighting. Here's my memory. This is 1986. Witherspoon was the world champion, one of the world heavyweight champions. Trevor Berbick was one of the world champions. There was only 3 titles at the time: WBA, WBC, and IBF. I don't think the WBO had even been invented at that point. So I'm pretty sure, I don't know, Trevor Berbick had either the WBC or the WBA. I think it was a WBC, it might have been a WBA. Tim Witherspoon had one of the world titles, and I'm pretty sure that Buster Douglas and Tony Tucker, fought for the vacant world title, unless Tony Tucker already had it. But I'm pretty sure they fought for the vacant one. That's my memory of that. And then, so Tony Tucker fought James Buster Douglas. See, this is forgotten because of what Buster Douglas did to Mike Tyson in 1990. But what's forgotten is what happened before that, and he did fight for the world title, and he got knocked out by Tony Tucker. And Buster Douglas was winning that fight until he got knocked down, and it's like he gave up. He'd already put Tony Tucker down, and Tony Tucker won the world title, and then Tony Tucker went on to fight Mike Tyson and lost one of them titles. Bone Crusher Smith fought Tim Witherspoon for his world title and won. And it was a weird one because he just went in and ran straight at Tim Witherspoon and just punched him until it was over. So when Tyson beat Trevor Berbick for the world title, and I think Trevor Berbick won the title off of Pinkland Thomas, I think. Also, did you know, this is something non-boxing fans might not know, but everyone kind of knows who Mike Tyson is. But even some fans might not know this. Did you know who Muhammad Ali's last fight was? The last time he got beaten? Now some people might say, well, it was Larry Holmes, wasn't it? No. Trevor Berbick. And who did Tyson win the world title off? Trevor Berbick. Now Trevor Berbick, because he did the chicken dance in the fight, and he, it was such a spectacular knockout from Mike Tyson. Trevor Berbick got a lot of hassle over that, a lot of negativity towards him as a fighter. The simple fact was, Trevor Berbick, I don't know why I'm saying his full name so many times, was really good. It's just Mike Tyson was brilliant. Trevor Berbick, I keep saying this, Berbick was really good. He took Larry Holmes the distance during Larry Holmes's peak. At his peak, Larry Holmes couldn't get rid of him, and it was a split, it went the distance. And he was one tough fighter with skills. And he won the world title. You don't win a world title for nothing. Okay, sometimes you do. There is one, I forget his name now. Anthony Joshua won the world title from when he won the IBF world title for the start with. That was his first world title. And the person he fought, I forget his name. Anyway, the reason he had the world title is because his opponent hurt his knee. His opponent slipped or something, twisted his knee and wasn't able to continue. So that's why the bloke won the world title. And with his fight with Anthony Joshua, he got punched 3 times, and all 3 times he went down. It's not to say that he was no good. Obviously, he was a good boxer, and he challenged for the world title, and so he was clearly very good. But it's a kind of a weird way to win a world title, because the opponent has a dodgy knee. Well, not dodgy knee, but I think they retired. That boxer. I wish I need to get something that's a little bit more there so I can use it, because this laptop's way too far away. If I try and move it over here. Okay, let's see if I can get... I want to see if my memory is correct. So the fights with Mike Tyson and other people involved in his fights. So he fought Trevor Berbick. Right. So Trevor Berbick, he actually, he was a bit of a bad guy, according to this. But he'd had a few losses. He'd had 2 losses, 3, 4 losses before winning a world title against, Pinkland Thomas. Oh, I was right there. but he was good. I mean, yeah, he had some losses, but he'd never been knocked out. No, he did. He was knocked out as well. This is earlier on in his career. But what I'm saying, he wasn't a nobody. He wasn't like, you don't become a world champion for nothing. Okay, so we'll move away from that. So after winning a world title from Trevor Berbick, Mike Tyson fought James Bone Crusher Smith, and Bone Crusher Smith was the first person to beat Frank Bruno. So Tyson won the WBC heavyweight title, and he beat Bone Crusher Smith. Took 12 rounds, unanimous decision, and he won a WBA heavyweight title. This is all part of the heavyweight unification series. So let's have a look, see if I remember it rightly. The fights. Right. This is unofficial precursor, January the 17th. Tony Tubbs against Tim Witherspoon. So Tim Witherspoon won that. Tim Witherspoon beat Tubbs by majority decision to win the WBA title. January. Okay. So so that he must have had the fight with Frank Bruno right in the middle of that in the summer, and then so that was January 1986. And personally, I think this is all based around Mike Tyson becoming the youngest heavyweight champion in history. So they put on a thing. They wanted to get all the belts together. So they were putting everyone, setting up this whole thing. Tony Tubbs against Tim Witherspoon. Tim Witherspoon wins the world title. Tony Tubbs was the former champion. And then Trevor Berbick is a separate date. This is in March 86. Fought Pinkland Thomas. Another former champion, I think. So he won the WBC title from Pinkland Thomas, who happened to be Mike Tyson's favourite boxer at the time. Michael Spinks defeated Larry Holmes in the second fight, and that was for the IBF title. That didn't have anything to do with this whole unification thing. It was just because Larry Holmes got beaten the first time by Michael Spinks, and he fought again and still got beaten. July the 19th at Wembley Stadium, Tim Witherspoon fought Frank Bruno and won. Retained the WBA title. So he won it in January, and then he retained it in the summer at Wembley Stadium. I remember that. Michael Spinks, he had a fight to retain his IBF title in September 86. And then Trevor Berbick fought Mike Tyson 22nd of November 86, knocking out Berbick. Tim Witherspoon on December the 12th, so that was just a couple of weeks later, fought Bone Crusher Smith. Bone Crusher Smith defeated Tim Witherspoon to win the WBA title. Okay. See, this is weird. I completely forgot the time. In my memory, the time is different. So Mike Tyson, I thought that when Tony Tucker and James Buster Douglas fought, it was before Mike Tyson won the world title, but it wasn't. Mike Tyson had won the world title, and then he also then fought James Bone Crusher Smith in March 1987 to win the WBC title. And then there was a fight between Tony Tucker and James Buster Douglas to claim the vacant IBF title that Michael Spinks had been stripped of. I don't know why he got stripped of it. Maybe he was told he had to fight Tyson and he didn't want to. I don't know. He ended up fighting him anyway. And Tony Tucker won that. It had a title, Hard Road to Glory. And then that was in May the 30th, 1987. And then Mike Tyson versus Pinklon Thomas. And that hasn't got a date for that for some reason. And that was to retain the WBA and WBC titles. And then Mike Tyson fought Tony Tucker August the 1st, 1987, and to become the undisputed champion. So I kind of got most of it right, but the time zones of it, I don't understand why Michael Spinks. Did you know that Michael Spinks' brother is the one that beat Muhammad Ali? Leon Spinks. They're brothers. Did you know that? It's true. Did you know, what other brothers are there? Well, there's lots of different brothers, isn't there, I suppose. There's actually twins, the Charlo brothers. They're twins. One's older than the other, but that's always the case. It's very often, they're not normally born at the exact same moment. And they were both world champions. The Klitschko brothers, both heavyweight champions, brothers. Tyson Fury, he's got his brother as a boxer. I think he's got two cousins that are boxers. He's got Hughie Fury, who fought for the world title, WBO title, years ago against, blimey, too many names, too many different names. But yeah, he fought against him. Daniel Dubois' next opponent. Anyway, let's go back to the schedule, the boxing schedule. Daniel Dubois against Joseph Parker. For the WBO heavyweight title. So it's IBF heavyweight title. Shakur. So I was incorrect about having two world titles on the same night. There might have been, but not on this occasion, I was thinking. So Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, Shakur Stevenson. I can't say Shakur without wanting to say Shakura. Versus Floyd Schofield. That's for the WBC light world title. So that's 3 world title fights. Carlos Adams and Shakur Stevenson is one of the pound for pounds, as is Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol as well. Shakur Stevenson against Floyd Schofield. Then you got Carlos Adams against Hamza Sharif for the WBC middleweight world title. Again, another really great fight. Virgil Ortiz against Israel Madrimov. So that's a WBC interim super welterweight belt. Another great fight. Zili Zhang, Big Bang Zhang, against Ajit Kabayel, the WBC interim heavyweight belt. Another great, it's like one to look forward to. And then you've got Joshua Buatsi against Callum Smith for the WBO interim light heavyweight belt. I would watch the bill for any one of those. I would watch it for any one of those. The only one I wouldn't be too bothered about, there's a couple I probably wouldn't be, I'd watch it, but I wouldn't be like super excited. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 5 of them, maybe 6, maybe 7. You know, they're all great fights, exciting fights, and to have that on one bill, it's because the last one, it was good. They're all good. All the fights that have been in Dubai have been really good, but this is like, wow. So I'm looking forward to that. That's in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, yeah, something like that. So anyway, that's me talking about boxing yet again. So I'm going to go. I've done quite a few recordings, quite a few videos this, recently. So I hope you're enjoying the new stuff I'm doing. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself. Be gentle with yourself, because you do deserve to be happy, and you do deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye.